I have to say, you know me, I love Dungeon of Black Company, and watching 2 episodes back to back, which I've never done, but like with a few different series, busy, sick, busy, just caused some delays, unfortunately. So apologies, but watching episodes 9 and 10 back to back, episode 9, Scam Potions, beautifully done. The memes write themselves, they create themselves. And with this latest episode, Big Sister Rim naming her sister Sky, because that's really what it is, right? They were born in the same dungeon, so they're sisters, right? That's kind of what they are. And the idea that, yes, the latest episode ends in a pretty big cliffhanger, almost like the dungeon's acting negatively, so therefore she's getting sick again after seemingly getting healed. So that was a dramatic cliffhanger for sure, but I mean, there was some hilarious adventures over this past couple of episodes. Last week had some golden-ass moments. Episode 9 really delivered with Kinji and his business opportunities. The idea that, I mean, not only do you get to see, like, they're still in their underwear, they're dealing with zombies, they're trying to take care of business, which is fun. I mean, it's always going to be entertaining for just, on a visual level, it's a comedic scene looking at the characters and what they're having to deal with as they're searching for a pantless Kinji, which they believe left his underwear as a clue. No, that shit just came off when he got sucked into that portal. But it was great because, you know, this evil-looking skeleton, oh, he's an evil mage, he's doing this or that. Ultimately, he gets bought in by Kinji's words and pretty much is like, I'm going to go to the surface and destroy people and make them suffer the same bullshit work cycle I did. Oh wait, they're already dealing with that? I can go to heaven now. And we realize it's actually a beautiful woman and, you know, the hero just went for a different piece of ass and that ultimately caused the chaos. And I'm like, Dungeon of Black Company, how in the actual hell do you get away with creating non-stop bangers of jokes and situations? But here we are. Seriously, one of the most criminally underappreciated isekai fantasy series I think I've ever seen. The show is just absolute gold, and really this year has been delivering on those isekai comedy gems. But the idea of what they did with the potions, where you had, honestly, I'm not sure if I'm the only one. Obviously, I recognize that a lot of people, they watched this episode last week, but the person who owns the store, this scene right here gave me major Konosuba vibes, where you would have someone looking at like a Kazuma being like, what in the actual hell are they doing? As you have Kinji kind of coming up with this big brain plan to make a shit ton of money, as he pretty much makes these potions, which are worthless, addictive, so adventurers keep coming back for more as they have carefully laid broadcasting ads, as they also plant people who are physically very capable pretend that the potion is why they're capable in order to bring these massive bucks, as then it gets shut down and he just bails after giving some words of advice, but never being able to admit that, like, he's kind of a scumbag, but also just generally wants to help certain people. And it just created, like, one of the most memorable dynamics and situations out of the 9 episodes up until that point. Really, I was impressed with that scam potion, and I hope we get at least one more moment of that between episodes 11 and 12 before we have to say goodbye to this anime. Now, on the topic of this week's episode, I love the fact that not only did the queen ant get hot, she pops back up with a child, which everyone thinks is Kinji's. You get this very interesting situation between Rim and who is basically her successor and had to fill the role in a weakened state because Rim got hungry and left the dungeon. And the fact that she very much is trying to be like a mother/big sister role to her, but is constantly getting pushed back against, you know, is actually kind of interesting to see Rim in that state, because she's usually a joke and a pretty sweet character, but a very violent character. So to have it be reversed, where she actually had to grow up for an episode, as the others are trying to restore order to the dungeon, as she's doing everything she can. She won't eat, she won't accept help. And whenever she does get to try to help her, ice melts before it can even cool her down. So it was a nice situation to see a character who didn't need a moment like this, could have easily stayed as that funny, goofy character who bites Kinji's head. But to see that happen to her and to see the similar pushback, I think was very sweet, and I was really impressed by the big sister dynamic and how ultimately she got to name her. And I thought, you know, at first when she said she was going to name her Sky, I was like, it's kind of a dumb name, but when she explained, like, that was the first thing that she was impressed by when she left, I was like, you know what? That actually is pretty sweet, and I like that. But of course, they're going to end it on some form of big cliffhanger. Do I think Sky's going to end up dead? Probably not, but there's definitely going to be a hurdle that I wouldn't be shocked if it lasts more than one episode and carries into the last episode, that being episode 12. I mean, Dungeon of Black Company deserves so much praise, and It's one of those things that ever since the beginning, my biggest compliment not only was just how the author clearly made a story that didn't drag shit out, that didn't just say, hey, here's a generic premise that we're going to extend for 6 novels before we actually have to try again to copy another author. No, it was constantly new ideas and situations. Like that scam potion could have been 3 episodes worth of content in any author's hands, but it was just a small portion of episode 9. They don't beat around the bush, they take their time when needed, but it's a very spontaneous show. Things constantly happen and it keeps the momentum fresh. There is not a single slow or bad moment in all 10 episodes. I would truthfully argue that if I was to ever build like a favorites isekai list, a show like this would be on it, because it is that entertaining. But Kinji's voice actor continues to blow me away. There's certain performances, Cosma from Konosuba, stuff like that, you just can't hear in another language, another dub. And yeah, I know a lot of those shows do get dubs that people like, but I just can't, because that actor is just so good at selling the performance. Whether it's Agent 6 from Combatants Will Be Dispatched to Kinji from the Dungeon of Black Company. You can't tell me that's not the most perfect role ever, and I love how the side cast can be equally memorable next to such a strong performance. I especially love Wanabe for having hardly any lines in a normal episode. The way he just so casually responds with that gorgeous, just shocked reaction continues to knock my socks off and has me say, like, there's not a bad element. Honestly, I was actually surprised by how different the scenery was when they did end last week's episode and then kicked off with this. It pretty much looked like, honestly, probably the best comparison I could think of is honestly like Danmachi in terms of like some of their dungeon floors with like the forest sceneries. Really like the change in perspective because we really have been in caverns and towns that kind of had like that medieval charm. So this kind of felt like a more typical fantasy isekai setting with some interesting monsters like those bunnies who are getting absolutely pummeled by these bullies. You spray a little water on them and they become like Bugs Bunny on steroids, which I was like, that's actually kind of fantastic. And I don't know why I didn't see that coming, given the complete insanity that this show presents, but still, you gotta love how, like, both stylistically and on a narrative level, the show is continuously fresh, which is weird to say in a genre like isekai, but here I am, as usual. Really, I have no idea, like, how they really want to end Season 1, because you never know if you're getting more. I mean, it's pretty likely at least a second season for a lot of isekai shows, I feel like, these days, given the popularity and how much anime is being made. But I could see them ending in a way of, like, stopping the illness, whatever's going on with Sky, while sort of restoring order to the dungeon, having it be open-ended but clearly not conclusive. That feels like what they're building up, which would be perfectly acceptable to me. But really, the past 2 episodes are bangers. Absolute bangers, not a dull moment, never a dull moment. Excited for the last couple. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.